And we know the last Sunday of ordinary time is celebrated as the solemnity of or the feast of our Lord Jesus Christ, the King of the universe. One day, in a catechism class, one teacher told his students to draw a picture of a king. And he said, there will be rewards for you if you draw beautiful pictures. Then students started to draw pictures with a lot of colors, and they were that kings were wearing a lot of jewelries, like that. A lot beautiful pictures they made. But one girl drew another picture. It was not that much attractive. A man in blood with a crown of thorns, and in his hand there is a whip, and it is written, "See your king." That is the words of Pilate about Jesus. And it was a picture of Jesus. And when we that teacher saw this picture, he appreciated her and said that you only understood who Jesus was. Others drew a lot of beautiful pictures with a lot of ornaments, with a sword, or a lot of things. But you are the one who understood Jesus as King. Today, while we are celebrating this feast, we have to understand a lot of things about Jesus. We should understand the kingship of Jesus in three periods. First, a period of waiting. Last Sunday, we saw about the Jerusalem temple. So, till that period, what was the and Herod was renovating the temple of Jerusalem. And till that period, how Jesus was waited by the people. In the Genesis 3:15, we read a promise about a redeemer who is going to come on earth to redeem the people after they are sinning against God. So that promise was there. Later, we could see Isaiah 7:14. We read about this Redeemer again. But who will be this Redeemer? It is later revealed how this Redeemer will be. When Israelites got into the Canaan, they demanded for a king because we knew the last judge of Israel it was Samuel. His sons were leading a very bad life. Because of that, what happened? People asked Samuel to give them a king just like others have. So Samuel gave them a king. That king was, who was that king? Saul. Saul. And later, after that, he was rejected in front of God, and another king comes. Who is that very famous king? The one who tried to buy land for temple. After Saul comes David. David, isn't it? So, when David was king, he got a promise. We read Second Samuel, in the book of Second Samuel, we read likewise, mm, God promises David, chapter 7, verses 12 to 13. God promises David that a descendant will come from him, establish an everlasting kingdom, and have a son who will build a house for God's name. So, a redeemer was promised in Genesis, and the how this redeemer is going to come. says that Redeemer will be in the line of David. Davidic throne will be given to that Redeemer. In the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verses 1, we read uh, the book of genealogy of the Abraham's son, David's son, Jesus Christ. So that line is fulfilled in Jesus. That in that line, Jesus born. In the book of Luke, in the Gospel of Luke, we read uh, chapter 3, verses 39. There we read, uh, Mother Mary is coming in the same line because David had a son, Solomon, but before that, David had one more son, isn't it? From Bathsheba. And that child died because that child was a result of a sin. Because of that, that child died. Later, Solomon born. After that, one more son is born. His name is Nathan. And in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 3, we read it. David, another son of David, that is Nathan. And in that line, Nathan's line, we could see Mother Mary was born. So when we think about Jesus, in both line, uh, Jesus was a Davidic son, son of David. From the part of Joseph also, from the part of Mary also, Jesus born as a son of David. So the fulfillment of this happened, and people were waiting for a king, because all prophets, when they were in slavery, all prophets promised that you will have a king who is going to redeem you from this slavery. But they thought it is the slavery of kings. They thought they were under a lot of slaveries: Assyrian slavery, Babylonian slavery, Persian slavery, later Greek slavery, and Roman slavery. Under Roman slavery, they were undergoing a lot of difficulties. We cannot imagine what kind of difficulties Jewish people underwent. And they were praying, please send the king very fast, Maranatha. Send the Lord, come Lord, fast, Maranatha. So they were praying, and a son was born out of a virgin, and that was Jesus. That is the first period of kingship we should understand, a waiting for a kingship. In the second period, we see Jesus was born his birth was unknown. It was not a proclaimed birth, but no one knew Jesus was born. Only little people, a few people come to know that Jesus was born. But because people were waiting a son in a palace, in a palace, one person will be born and he will be our redeemer. They were thinking so, but Jesus was born in a manger, and it was not known. And afterwards, Jesus was trying to tell the people through his all actions that I am the redeemer, I am the awaited king of you. And the last sign he's giving before his death, from the mountain of Olive, he was going to Jerusalem. Suddenly, he asked for a donkey to go. Why he was asked for a donkey? We will read it in Zechariah 9:9. Prophecies that a king will come to Jerusalem who is righteous and victorious, yet humble, riding on a donkey. So Jesus was telling, I am that king. By riding on a donkey, he was telling that I am that king coming to Jerusalem to save you. I am the king of peace. I am the humble king who is coming. And people understood that sign. That is the reason why suddenly they take out their dresses and they spread it on the way, and took the branches of olive and they spread it on the way. People understood this is a sign. They understood because when Yahoo who was uh, announced as a king, people do same. We could read in the Bible. People suddenly took olive branches and they spread their dresses. In the Old Testament, we read. Dear friends, the people understood he is the one, he is the king. Then why? And they were shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna, everything they were shouting. But suddenly, after some times, they turned against Jesus. Then what is the twist there happened? What is the twist there happened? Because I told you when I spoke about Jerusalem temple, uh, from Olive, Mount Olive, when we go to Jerusalem temple, it will come to like this way. Then there is two way. We can take right also, we can take left also. So Jesus was going, so people all thought he's going to question the Pilate, because feast was going on that time. So Pilate was residing in Fort Antonio. I told you, you should remember where is this Fort Antonio. It is very near to the wall of Jerusalem temple. There was a fort, and whenever feast was going on, 4 lakh, 5 lakh people were coming to Jerusalem. So, in order to control the people, a lot of soldiers were spread, and as a head of the soldiers, Pilate was residing in this fort. So Jesus is going to Jerusalem. People all thought this one is going to question Pilate and going to proclaim war against Roman emperor, and he's going to redeem the people from this slavery. That was the expectation of people. So there was two ways to turn. So if they turn to right, it is going to Fort Antonio, where Pilate reside. If he turn to left, he is going to enter into Jerusalem temple. That was the thing. But Jesus, all people were shouting Hosanna. That means you are the Redeemer. Hosanna, you are the Redeemer. Please save us. That is the meaning of Hosanna. Hosanna means it is not a slogan. They are telling, save us, save us. And they marched with him towards Jerusalem. But when he reached that point, he took left side and got into Jerusalem temple. He didn't take to right side, and he didn't go to Fort Antonio. That is the reason why suddenly they turned against Jesus. Their expectations collapsed. Then next day we could see Jesus was caught, and when his trial was going on, people were shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" That is the thing was what was going on. But we could see in the book of Matthew 27 and 37 verses 37, we could see that Jesus is on the cross. And he revealed, or he sat on his throne as a king, and his throne is cross. His throne was a cross. He was nailed into cross, and there also we could see above his head a writing is kept. What was the writing? Jesus of Nazareth is the King of Jews. In the John chapter 19 to 22, we read, Pilate wrote this, and chief priest came to Pilate and saying, you should not write like that way. You should change it and say that he said that he is the King of Jews. But Pilate says, "What I wrote, that is written. It cannot be changed." And without indirectly, Pilate proclaimed or declared that Jesus is the King of Jewish people. Jewish people were not ready to accept him as a king, but a Gentile person, Pilate, declared that he is the king of Jewish people. And who is this king will be declared by a centurion who was standing under the cross. He is saying that in truly this person was son of God. Why he declared like this way? While he has witnessed a lot of crucifixions, but most of the time these all culprits who were bearing this cross were shouting against the rulers, shouting against the government, or they were uttering abusing words. But when we look into the way of the cross, we could see Jesus was not like that. He carried cross silently, without any blame, without saying any abusing words. He carried it. By seeing this, the centurion understood this person is not normal. Normal human being will utter all these things, but Jesus is not normal. He is something special, and he declared that this king was the Son of God. Dear friends, when we celebrate today solemnity of Jesus as a King of universe, what is the weapon this king used in order to conquer whole world? We could see a lot of kings used war, sword and other kind of things to capture the world, and their victory was not permanent, it was temporary. For example, Alexander the Great, he said after conquering everything, he put his hand out and said that I am not taking anything, I am not acquired anything, I am going free hand. Indian king Ashoka, after Kalinga war, says that after this war, what I gain? Nothing. Weeping and crying and tears. So he turned into Buddha. But Jesus tells on his cross, everything is completed. And the weapon he used to conquer the whole world was the weapon of love. He only used the weapon of love. And he tells us to also, if you want to conquer the world, use the weapon of love. And you are going to conquer the world. And what is his throne? It is his cross, nothing else. When you sit on this throne, you have to remember that there will be a lot of possibilities to get angry, to shout, but Jesus was very much silent even in his sufferings. And he prayed for enemies, and he showed that the peak point of love. If you want to sit on this throne, you have to practice love. And that love only help you to conquer this world. And his kingdom is heaven. His kingdom is in heaven. And many times we read, I have no time to read these all things. You go and read. We read in other places that he himself says, my kingdom is not earthly. My kingdom is heavenly. And I am going to establish that kingdom, not on this earth, but in your heart. I'm going to establish that kingdom in your heart. And I'm going to live in each one's heart. So, dear friends, when we receiving Jesus as our King, we are making a kingdom of heaven in our heart. When we follow his words, we are going to make that heaven on earth. So if you want to make this earth as heaven, you have to receive Jesus as your king, and you should follow the words of Jesus. You can bring down heaven on earth. When we celebrate this holy mass on this solemnity, dear friends. One more story I would like to say. I will conclude with that story. One day, one king called a lot of children, like our all children came here in this chapel to his darbar, to his court. King told, whatever you touch, you can take. Children became very happy, all ran and took all the precious things, they touched some precious things what were there. One child was not running anywhere, standing near to king. And king asked, why you are not going and touching something? He told, I am touching you. You are my precious thing. And I knew this whole uh, uh, palace is yours. If I make you my own, these whole things are mine. Today, you all are sitting here. You may have a lot of needs, prayers, blessings you needed. But before going back, you have to ask, which thing I touched? Is it my need or the precious thing, what I want, car, bangla? I don't know. Did you touch Jesus? Did you take Jesus with you to your home today? The one who owns all these things. So each celebration is coming to his court. While going back, you have to take that king with you. And if he is with you, no one can defeat you. Amen.